Ever heard a guy complaining bitterly about his 10-inch baby maker? Well, Pete Davidson just dropped a confession that no one saw coming.
The sexualization of me, like if that was a girl, there'll be a march for it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He says the viral Big Bic Energy label didn't crown him Hollywood's cool king. It ruined his life.
Like you just talking about my all day.
It's the kind of twist that turns a meme into a meltdown. Think about it. One cheeky Ariana Grande tweet, a flood of late-night jokes, Twitter timelines catching fire, and suddenly Pete wasn't just a comedian anymore. He was a walking punchline, a brand stamped with 3 letters that followed him everywhere. And while fans laughed, reposted, and fueled the trend, Pete admits behind the scenes it was humiliating, even painful.
Say you swear to God. Say you swear to God. Put that on Allah. Say put that on Allah. Say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi.
And living through that it's sort of traumatic.
He wasn't in on the joke, he was the joke. That's why his latest reveal feels like a bombshell. Because if BDE wasn't the blessing the internet made it out to be, then what was it really? A curse disguised as clout, or the reason his entire personal life spiraled into chaos? And here's the kicker. This isn't just Pete throwing shade at a viral moment. The way he tells it, the label warped how everyone, from casting directors to girlfriends, saw him. Which begs the question, was BDE the reason he rose so fast in Hollywood, or the very thing that nearly burned him alive? It all traces back to one name, Ariana Grande. One flirty comment, one viral joke. That's all it took to cement Pete Davidson as the poster boy of Big Bic Energy.
I mean, it's all right. Like, overrated as f***, in my opinion. I mean, and you know what, though? That's typically how the bullshit goes. You feel me?
When Ariana casually hinted about Pete's, let's say, natural advantage, the internet did what it does best. It ran wild. Memes, tweets, TikToks, late-night punchlines. Overnight, Pete went from quirky Saturday Night Live comic to the living, breathing embodiment of a fantasy that wasn't even his idea. But here's where it gets messy. Pete has admitted that Ariana's words trapped him in a role he never signed up for. Imagine every date, every casting call, every interview being shadowed by 3 letters. People weren't seeing Pete the comedian or Pete the actor, they were seeing a walking rumor. And as flattering as fans made it sound, Pete says it made his relationships almost impossible. Women came in with expectations. Men mocked him like a novelty, and Hollywood? They typecast him as a punchline instead of an artist. And now the internet is asking, did Ariana set him up unintentionally? Or did she know exactly what she was doing? Was it a playful slip or the start of the very circus Pete's still trying to escape from? Because if the label was born out of a joke, why does Pete sound like the only one who never got to laugh? At first, Pete thought it was funny. Who wouldn't? The internet crowns you with a title that suggests you've got some kind of mythical superpower, and suddenly your name is trending in places you've never even been. But the punchline didn't fade. It grew. It followed him everywhere. Think about it. Every interview, every headline, every red carpet appearance, the phrase Big Bic Energy was stapled right next to his name. What started as a wink became a wait. Pete has openly said that it ruined his dating life because women weren't seeing him. They were chasing the image. Men mocked him relentlessly, throwing jokes that blurred admiration with ridicule. And Hollywood? They stopped looking at him as an actor, they started scripting him as the meme. And this is where Pete's tone shifts from sarcastic to serious. He's confessed that the label caused him constant anxiety, with expectations hanging over his head that no one could live up to. Imagine living in a world where your reputation is bigger than your career, and it's all because of one viral phrase. And here's the kicker. Pete admits he can't escape it. He can't log on to Twitter without seeing his name dragged into a new joke. He can't date without someone whispering about the legend before the man. And he can't land a role without the press slipping that tag into the story.
Stop it. Get some help.
The internet is now split. Some say Pete should own it, cash in, turn the joke into his brand. Others argue it's a curse he'll never shake. A reputation so sticky, it's become his prison. And if the curse of a meme can derail someone this famous, what chance does anyone else stand once the internet decides your identity for you? If the meme was gasoline, Kim Kardashian was the spark that turned it into a wildfire. Pete wasn't just Pete anymore. He was Kim's rebound. The man who somehow snagged one of the most famous women in the world right after her divorce from Kanye West. And overnight, The big energy tag went from internet joke to a full-blown global brand. Every paparazzi shot, every dinner date, every tabloid cover. It wasn't Pete and Kim, it was BDE and Kim K. Fans and critics alike couldn't stop dissecting the pairing. Some said Kim was validating the legend by choosing him. Others whispered that she was using Pete as a way to taunt Kanye, fueling an already chaotic feud. Either way, Pete was never allowed to just be himself. He was the meme that Kim had made real. And here's where it gets darker. Pete has admitted that the constant attention became unbearable. The late-night jokes, the Twitter memes, even Kanye's infamous rants, all of it circled back to the same label. He wasn't being discussed as a comedian or an actor or even a partner. He was a punchline living in Kim Kardashian's shadow. And let's not forget, Kim herself added fuel to the fire. On her Hulu show, she openly bragged about Pete's reputation, almost winking at the gossip that had taken over his identity. For Pete, that must have been the nail in the coffin. If the woman you're dating can't separate the myth from the man, how can the rest of the world ever be expected to? And here's the loop that keeps people hooked. Was Kim really in love with Pete, or was she in love with the cultural chaos that came with him? And if their entire relationship was built on a meme, what happens when the meme burns out, but the man is still left standing in the ashes? Once the internet crowns you with a nickname, Hollywood isn't far behind. And that's where Pete Davidson found himself boxed in. Directors didn't just see him as a comedian anymore, they saw him as that guy with BDE. Suddenly, the roles he was offered started to reflect the meme rather than his actual talent. Think about it, romantic comedy scripts where he's the unlikely heartthrob, casting calls that leaned into the awkward but secretly magnetic archetype. Producers were practically writing characters that matched the online fantasy rather than Pete's actual range. And while some might see that as opportunity, for Pete it became a cage. He couldn't audition for serious roles without people whispering, "But where's the BDE angle?" And it wasn't just Hollywood. Talk shows, magazine interviews, late-night sketches, everyone wanted to poke at the same button. He became a brand, not a person. Imagine sitting down for what should be a career-defining conversation, and instead of talking about your craft, the first question is, so is the BDE thing true? That's not promotion. It's humiliation disguised as flattery. What's more, insiders claim Pete started turning down gigs because he was tired of being typecast. Projects he once dreamed of slipped away because the industry and the audience wouldn't let him escape the caricature. And here's the cruel irony. The same meme that gave him a global spotlight also became the reason doors started closing. But here's the part that fans can't stop speculating on. If Hollywood kept reducing him to a punchline, how much of his personal breakdowns were fueled by that constant pressure? Was Pete's battle with mental health exacerbated by a label he never asked for but couldn't shake? And just when you think the story hits rock bottom, there's another twist waiting. The way this meme started bleeding into his love life, sabotaging every relationship that came after Kim. The label might have started in Hollywood, but the real battlefield? His dating life. Every time Pete Davidson stepped out with someone new, the BDE whispers followed like a curse he couldn't shake. When he dated Kim Kardashian, the world framed him as the unlikeliest man alive to pull the queen of reality TV. But after the breakup, every girlfriend that came after, Ariana, Emily Ratajkowski, even whispers about Ice Spice, was dragged into the same conversation. Was she with him because of the hype or because of him? That's not romance. It's public speculation turning love into a circus. Insiders say women were both curious and cautious. Curious because of the meme that made him sound larger than life, but cautious because no one wants to be reduced to a punchline by dating someone who's already been turned into one. Imagine trying to build trust while the internet comments on your bedroom life 24/7. Every kiss, every paparazzi snap became fuel for memes that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with the legend people projected onto him. Even Pete himself allegedly admitted in private conversations that the tag made dating harder, not easier. Instead of feeling like partners were seeing him, he started to feel like they were seeing the internet's character of him. And once that paranoia creeps in, it's hard to separate reality from the rumor mill. And here's the sting that fans won't let go of. Some believe the BDE hype might have sabotaged his shot at real love with Kim. If the world hadn't turned their relationship into a running joke, could things have lasted longer? Or was it always destined to crack under the weight of the meme? But the story doesn't stop at heartbreak, because Pete's response to the fallout took an even darker turn. one that made people start worrying about his mental health more than his dating life. If the internet thought the BDE tag was just a joke, Pete Davidson's life proved it was anything but. Behind the memes and the red carpet smiles, he was unraveling. And fans could see it happen in real time. Rehab check-ins, therapy stints, and sudden disappearances from the spotlight became part of his story. Each time he came back, the cycle repeated. Paparazzi asked the same invasive questions. Tabloids framed his struggles as clickbait, and Twitter memes mocked his breakdowns instead of asking why they kept happening. It wasn't fame, it was a pressure cooker that never turned off. And here's where the gossip hits harder. Some insiders claim Pete himself has admitted that the big Bic energy tag pushed his mental health to the edge. Imagine walking into a room and knowing everyone's first thought isn't about your comedy, your acting, or even your personality. It's about a crude 3-word phrase that no human can realistically live up to. That's not a boost. It's a cage. Fans noticed too. Reddit threads started to shift from jokes to genuine concern. Was the meme destroying him? Was this why every relationship crumbled so quickly? Was Pete becoming the victim of the very narrative that made him a star? But the darkest whisper floating online? That Kim Kardashian's involvement may have amplified it all. By dating her, Pete was launched into a spotlight few men can survive. For her, it was another headline. For him, it was another weight on a mind already bending under the internet's obsession. And now comes the scariest part. If memes can make someone's career, can they also quietly break them down until there's nothing left but the punchline? So here we are. Pete Davidson, the man who went from Saturday Night Live skits to Hollywood's most unexpected lover boy, now claims that the very phrase that skyrocketed him into pop culture immortality, Big Bic energy, has been his biggest curse. Think about it. That label followed him everywhere. It decided how people saw him, how women approached him, how tabloids wrote about him. It blurred out his comedy, overshadowed his acting, and reduced him to a walking punchline. What started as a cheeky Twitter compliment turned into a brand he never asked for, one that weighed on his relationships, his mental health, and his public identity. And fans are split right down the middle. Some laugh it off, saying Pete should own it. Others argue it's proof that the internet's obsession can warp a person's entire existence. But the louder whispers are the ones that sting the most. Did Kim Kardashian know this would happen? Did her megastar platform amplify a meme until it became his prison? Or, here's the most sinister theory, was Pete just another storyline in the Kardashian PR machine? And that's the kicker. If this tag really ruined Pete Davidson's life, what happens when the next meme lands on someone else? Could another star already be walking into the same trap? Because if Hollywood loves anything, it's building you up for the headlines, and then watching you crash when the jokes stop being funny. You know where to find me.